It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. We know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 363. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
I went the long version today.
Instead of 363, you said 363?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to celebrate all those episodes.
You want to celebrate the 363rd episode?
Yeah, it felt like a significant milestone.
Well, you know what we call those over on Real Spoilers.
I do.
We call them milestones.
Yes. That is.
Although it's really reserved more for like 325 or 375.
Oh, so my milestone is not even a milestone?
Correct.
Wow. Dang.
Sorry.
All right.
That's just the way it is, man.
Okay.
It's just the way it is. So, I don't know. We normally talk about stuff here.
Ooh, you want to talk about Hawaii? I'm excited.
Sure, yeah. We're going to be leaving here shortly.
We are.
2 weeks from today of the recording, not the day you'll hear this, because we don't know when you'll listen.
Yeah.
If ever.
If ever.
But 2 weeks from today, we are heading to Hawaii for 10 days.
Ooh. Okay, so it's going to be third time's the charm.
Yes, this is our third attempt to go to Hawaii.
And I'm going to be in quarantine before we go. If you haven't heard the story, the first time that we were going to go was June of 2020. So you can figure out what happened there.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, when we had rescheduled, I came down with the COVID. The day before we left.
The day we were getting ready to check in for the flight.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't feel right. I think I need to take a test.
Actually, you'd made me take a test.
Yeah, because you were like, I'll be fine. I was like, take the test.
Yeah.
And you came up positive.
I was not fine.
And in this case for you, positive meant negative, because that's how you were for the next 6 months. Very negative. And it was funny, though, because So we canceled the trip, but we had the insurance.
Thank goodness.
And but we had to show proof. Like, we couldn't just show the over-the-counter test. We had to go to the urgent care and get an actual test from a third party illustrating that you were indeed had COVID. And so when you go in to take the test, and we're sitting there like, what if the test was wrong and we've canceled
Wouldn't that suck?
And we've canceled this trip for nothing, and you come up negative on the official test. Yeah. Oh dear. And the doctor comes in and she's like, you have COVID. And we're both like, oh, yay. Thank God.
I was weak though, so I was like, yay.
The doctor's like, what is going on? Oh, thank God is not the right answer here.
Well, in this case it was.
Yeah.
So my hope is that we actually make it to Hawaii this time.
Yes.
That's what we're going for.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Indeed.
So, let's do our bingo call out before we forget.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Bingo number 1 this week is Anna Greenberg.
Okay.
Woo. I feel like it should be like fireworks.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Bad sound effects, apparently.
Yeah. They're used to that. That's not new.
That's true.
We have that every week.
So we have an interview coming up with Katrina Noplos. We also have a whole bunch of things to share with you that are going on in the world of Peloton. We'll be talking about the changes that occurred to the London schedule. You're going to want to pay attention. Okay. We also have a contest we're going to tell you about that Peloton is doing. We have a visit from Dr. Jenn, and boy, is it timely.
Very.
I can't believe it ended up this week.
Yes.
That's so funny. We're going to talk, we talked to Dr. Jenn about what the instructor marriages will do to fan interactions in the Peloton community. And then, of course, we got to talk about Ben and Leanne getting married.
Ta-da.
Yay.
I mean, no, we totally did that on purpose. We're really good.
especially since we recorded it like weeks ago.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about an interesting new competitor in the bike market, not to mention lots of content, lots of instructor news, and in case you missed it.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful, and it's greatly appreciated. Crystal picked up her phone. Apparently, she's going to do that right now.
I'm going to leave a review.
Okay.
Well, it's just that people were sending messages. I thought there might be something else new I needed to know.
Finally subscribe to the show. It's funny. When I do shameless plugs on Real Spoilers, both the guys pick up their phones as soon as I say shameless plugs every time.
Do they really?
Every time. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, I guess you just have that voice.
Well, they're like, well, Tom's going to go on his spiel right now. So like we don't have to be.
I can look at my notes.
Right. Sure. The notes. That's what you're looking at.
I can look at my messages.
Yeah. You're in front of a laptop, but you're like, let me look at my notes on my phone. Sure.
Got notes in 2 places.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You always tell me that what you love about Apple is that everything on your phone's on your computer and vice versa. So why would you need them in 2 places? Why would you need to pick up your phone right now?
It's 2 windows, Tom.
Uh-huh.
It's 2 windows.
Okay.
You don't believe me?
Not at all. No.
Well, I was really checking messages to see if there was new information that had just come in, late breaking news, because I wanted to stay on top of it for our listeners.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Or now I'm all spun around. You can watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/theclipout. You can sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/theclipout. What does that get you? I'm glad you asked. For $5 a month, you get ad-free episodes. You get bonus content, an extra episode every week that's 20-25 minutes long of just all the stuff we didn't have time to get to in this one. And then if we get it early, you get it early, and you get the pride and satisfaction of knowing you helped support the show and keep it going.
Yes.
So that is greatly appreciated. And finally, you can sign up for our newsletter at theclipout.com, where you will get all the links and things sent to you in a weekly email. We don't sell your email. Don't worry. You'll just get a mostly weekly email from us saying, hey, there's an episode out. So some people get weird about their email addresses.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Well,
they're like, I don't want to get spam. And I'm like, what? Hang on. What have you been doing that you're not getting spam? Like, have you somehow figured it out?
We need that 12-step program, whatever that is.
I'm like, wait, I used to get mad with people. Now I'm like, wait a second.
Maybe you know the secret to the universe.
Does this mean you're not getting the spam? Well, now.
Every once in a while, I consider just starting a new email address that I just don't give anyone. Just to keep it clean.
Yeah.
Just to have a brand new slate.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But if you don't give it to anyone, what would you do with it? Just log in and
enjoy the nothingness
and feel refreshed.
Yeah.
The lack of stress at an empty mailbox.
Yeah. Instead, I have 4 different mailboxes all filled to the brim.
Yes.
They're all at 99%. It's very stressful all the time. Just like, okay, I'll get to you.
So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
So there have been some changes to the London studio schedule.
Yeah, there have.
There's been some kerfluffle surrounding that change.
Well, I mean, people are not happy. That's really the only kerfluffle that there has been. So, back over COVID, they closed down the studio altogether. And then when they reopened it, they opened it Friday through Sunday. And then they added Thursday. And then they added Monday.
Yeah.
But at this point, London, what they have done is starting July 1st, you can only book Friday through Sunday.
Gotcha.
That's it. No Thursday.
No Thursdays.
No Monday.
No Mondays.
So
people were apoplectic thinking, what does this mean for the New York studio?
Yeah. And per Peloton, nothing. They say nothing. No changes to the New York studio.
I tend to think that that's probably true.
I think so too, but what I'm unhappy about is the lack of communication and transparency.
Yeah.
I don't know how else I'm supposed to read between the lines other than to hear it as this is happening because we had to let so many people go.
I think it's a combination of having to let people go and a combination of they just don't have the demand at the London studio for the live classes the way that they do in New York.
I mean, yes, the demand is part of it in that's, they talked about how they were going to have global cuts equaling 15% of the workforce.
Right.
So we know that they got rid of all the delivery drivers in the UK. And now this, I mean, it's got to be connected, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they go hand in hand.
I agree. Yeah. But the fact that they didn't say that or spell that out, and what concerns me about that is that we're going to either make assumptions and be right or make assumptions and be wrong.
Right.
And the fact that they don't have somebody messaging this proactively concerns me. This is the biggest concern I have about Peloton.
Right.
When you guys start effing it up and you don't tell anybody, that says now you don't have anybody in charge of your communications.
Yeah.
The last time you didn't have anybody in charge of your communications, it got real bad.
Yeah.
And so that concerns me more than any other change.
When you don't control the narrative, they will
make it up.
Be set for you.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, especially in this community, it will be wrong and dramatic and worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And, so that's super important. But,
it is.
But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, just people didn't sign up for classes in London like they do in New York. I can't imagine that the studio classes are a profit point for Peloton.
Oh, they're not.
So it's like, it's a money losing proposition no matter what. For them to charge you what they would need just to break even would be way more than the $40 that they charge or whatnot.
Yeah, it drives me crazy whenever I just see it all the time. Well, you should have more classes. You should have more classes. And I'm just like, guys, that logically make sense. They're not making money off a $35 class.
That's not that's not where the money's at.
No.
Like you're still thinking like it's the local studio down the street, and like that's just not what this is. And that's not. There's too much. There's too many moving parts that go into creating a class for Peloton for $35 a person to ever cover the revenue or cover the costs.
And now, that means also that I can't help but wonder if that also means that some of the production team had some changes as well or not, because maybe it doesn't affect the production team because you still need as many people to run it, and whether or not people are in the studio doesn't change that. What changes it is the people, the desk staff, the security guards,
the front facing stuff, not the behind the scenes team. Yeah.
Right. And that's where I think they probably made some changes.
But we could see the lack of demand when we were in London, and we were in London for Peloton on tour. So it's this major thing, and all the instructors are there, and it's this major event, and like they were trying to talk me into taking a class because they just had open slots. She's like, grab some shoes. You can go in. There's room. Yeah. And like in the middle of this huge giant promotion, they had open seats.
And it was so easy it was annoying because Peloton set me up with my stuff. And like if I had just booked it myself, I would have been able to get into anything. If I had just said nothing to them about going.
And showed up.
I would have gotten into everything. Right. But instead, I went through the proper channels. See what that gets you. But I only was able to go to two things but there were all these open spots and everything, which they should for fairness. Like I don't mean they should do that for me for free. That's not at all what I'm saying. I just wish that I hadn't said a word and just got into everything. Once you realized
there were all these open slots, you felt like you'd be stepping on their toes if you signed up for stuff anyway.
Exactly.
And looking greedy when it's like, but they're empty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's completely different than New York.
It was like me when they brought the donuts out at the party. I'm like, well, they've been out for a while now. Everybody's had a shot. So, like, if I have, like, a third donut, and by third, of course, I mean fifth. They were really good, though.
They were. Well, actually, I didn't have any of the donuts.
That's because I ate them all.
I had the alcohol.
See, I needed that to offset the liquor.
Right.
There is a Peloton Odesza giveaway.
There is.
You can fly away to either New York or Los Angeles.
Yes.
The city of your choice to see Odesza.
Not London. Just kidding. I thought this was a nice thing because you get to go to whichever show, you get round trip airfare, you get accommodations, you get to go to the pre-show lounge, a VIP merch, early entry with crowd-free merchandise shopping, and more. It is not sponsored by Peloton. The other interesting thing is that, do you notice this in no way says that you get a meet and greet? Yeah. More and more VIP tickets are doing that.
Oh, I see it all the time.
I know you do, which is why I'm bringing it up, because I think a lot of people just assume there's a meet and greet.
If they hear VIP, they think there's a meet and greet. And ever since COVID, so many of these VIP packages now don't include meet and greets. Yeah. And it's not even an option at the highest price level. It's not like, well, this tier doesn't. It's like it just does not exist. They have used COVID as a reason to stop having the personal meet and greets.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. And even artists who have loudly proclaimed that COVID is a hoax and not the least bit scary.
They still won't do it.
It's funny when you get the rider, it's got all these COVID precautions in there. So,
well, that means somebody on their management team cares about it, even if they don't.
But I've also noticed that initially they would at least replace it with you get an autographed item. And a lot of them don't even do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, this one does say you get VIP merch, so maybe there's something signed.
Yeah, a lot of them, no. If it was signed, it would tell you in the package. You would say that? Yeah, because it's normally it's you get a t-shirt or something or a special lanyard.
I got to say, the only good thing about this is that if you like Odesza, you get free accommodations.
Yeah.
I mean, the free trip.
And the trip, and
That's great. That's great. But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting that even with an amazing contest thing, you still don't get a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Man, greedy.
Are these guys visibly recognizable to people?
I don't know. They're not to me, but that does not mean a thing.
For sure. I always think of DJs, they're up behind the laptop and they're kind of faceless.
I mean, I know who Pauly D is.
Well, yeah, but that's because he was famous before he was a DJ. I mean, he was a DJ, but before he was known as a DJ.
Yeah.
I didn't need the Jersey Shore people coming at me. We watch, we get it. We're fine. Don't at me. But
stay tuned. There will be another Jersey Shore reference shortly.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So yeah, I was just wondering, would if someone got their picture taken with Odesza and posted it on the gram, would their friends even know who they were?
They may not. But to me, it's more about the chance to see them
for sure
in person, even though I know they won't remember you in any way, shape, or form. It's literally a cattle call. I get that. Well, but I still think there's something that just makes you feel special.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a winner of a big contest, it just seems like an easy thing to drop in.
I concur. Concur.
It's fascinating. Yeah. Oh, well. But I hope people enjoy. If any listeners happen to win, I would love to hear how it goes. Maybe they'll surprise people. They don't put it in, and maybe they'll still take them back. You never know.
They won't.
I know.
That's not how that works.
I tried to be positive.
Getting this psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube, it's Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She also has an app called No More Diets that you might want to check out. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
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 We have a question from member Paula, and Paula wants to know what your thoughts are about how the instructors that are going to be getting married this year might change their interactions, if at all, with the general public, given that this will be our first time we have 2 celebrity couples that are getting married. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a really interesting question. I hadn't really thought about it. I have a feeling that, obviously we're talking about Andy and Rebecca. We're talking about
Ben and Leanne.
And Ben. Yeah, who are they're all so adorable. Oh my God, it's so cute. I can't wait for there to be Peloton babies. Are they going to buy them little baby, how they're little fake cars and stuff, is there going to be a Peloton for babies? It's just thinking about it. And they're also attractive. They're just going to have the most beautiful babies. Anyway, I digress for a moment. I suspect that a lot of these couples have already kind of negotiated the outside interaction with other people and kind of like figured out what feels right for each individual couple. Because just like any couple, there are some couples who are like, yeah, I don't care if you like some girl's bikini shots on Instagram. And then there are other couples that are like, yeah, no, like that does not work for me. So I think that each couple has probably, and most of them, it's not like they dated for 3 months and then are getting married. Most of them have dated for quite some time. So they've had the opportunity, which, by the way, I love, because the initial stage of a relationship, that first 18 months, give or take 6 months, it's honeymoon. It's the honeymoon stage. It's, oh my God, you like pizza? I like pizza too. I can't believe how much we have in common. Nobody else loves pizza like we do. But these couples have gone past the honeymoon stage. They've probably move through the negotiation stage, which all couples go through, where you negotiate things in your relationship, whether it is outside influences, how you interact with other people, what kind of flirtations are okay, what kinds are not okay, what violates, what feels safe for you in the relationship. So I think that these instructors at this point are pros at kind of figuring out what feels right and what doesn't. And it'll be interesting to see kind of over time if that does change and kind of how it changes.
It will. It will indeed.
That would be frightening to be in a relationship that high profile.
I agree. I mean, you know, it's like everybody has a comment about what these instructors do. Good or bad, it does not matter. Everybody's got an opinion. Yeah. And it's like, can you imagine that publicly going through that kind of... I mean, it's one thing for a Peloton instructor to go through a divorce publicly, but to then go through it when you're both Peloton instructors, oh, that just sounds awful. Just awful.
But to me, see, I see it the opposite way, because it's one thing, like if one of you is Peloton instructor and the other isn't, the other person's not going to fully understand the way another Peloton instructor can.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Like Andy doesn't have to explain to Rebecca what it's like to be a Peloton instructor. Like she knows, she's been there. She's gotten the feedback. She's worked through those, and then they can like swap stories. And like, you know, we all imagine them like being all gorgeous in their like perfect Instagram bed. Like, so, honey, like I dealt with this issue. Oh, yeah, honey, I've dealt with that too. And like,
although
our fantasy of that.
I will say the flip side of that flip side is I would think the experience of being a Peloton instructor is very different for the women than it is for the men.
That's true. That's true.
That's a very interesting point. Look, I think that anything in life is a little different. There are different kind of feelings of, I think, vulnerability as a woman than there are as a man. Like when someone approaches you, there's like flattering and then there's creepy, that I think that line is a little different for most women versus men.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But I do think that being with someone who's in the same job, like that kind of makes it easier. There's like a shortcut kind of speech with each other that like you just understand that shorthand with one another.
Yeah.
You know, I think that where a lot of couples who are in the same industry face challenges is being competitive with each other. And look, Peloton instructors are notorious competitors in the big world. They run races. They are super competitive people. So it's interesting to know kind of if we ever get to see any of that, like how they handle that in their relationship. Like, is there a conflict over like who has more followers or like whose post got more likes or like any of that stuff? Or are they just like superhuman and they never have that dynamic in their relationship and they just want to help their partner and each other and none of it matters and they're just like perfect human beings, which doesn't really exist, but we like to think they are.
They have fights where they throw Instagram followers in each other's face.
Exactly.
That's what Crystal does when she gets mad at me.
I never have done that ever.
How many downloads does Real Spoilers get, you loser?
I have never done that. That, sir, is fake news.
Well, thank you very much for all of that. Until next time, where can people find you?
You can find me on all social media at Dr. Jenn Van, 2 N's on Jen, 2 N's on Van.
Wonderful. Thank you.
The Clip Out.
And coming up after this, we're going to tell you everything we know about Ben and Leanne's surprise wedding. So stick around.
Instructors in the news.
Okay. So get me up to speed here. I think what happened is they posted the picture that the people on YouTube can see on the screen right now where Ben has on a wedding ring. Did this force their hand in announcing this?
I don't think so. Here's the deal. They told everyone, I don't think this is a surprise at all.
Okay.
Because they told everyone they were getting married in May. They told everyone there were going to be 2 ceremonies. Mm-hmm. So the only surprise here was when the timing was going to occur.
Right.
And where it was located.
Right.
We were very unsure about that. It turns out it was in Morocco, by the way.
Oh, fancy.
Well, there was a Moroccan-themed dinner. I actually don't know that it was in Morocco. Somebody assumed that, and I just kind of globbed onto that.
Gotcha.
So that's actually possibly just my imagination.
We're going to tell you everything we think might be true about Ben and Leanne's.
Here's what we do know. Over the weekend, we saw on Leanne's Instagram the first hint that it was coming up very soon. Was there were a couple of pictures posted by both Ben and Leanne separately where they hid their hands. Like it was like, they would talk with their right hand up and their left hand over here. So that was like we were all paying attention.
Right.
Second thing that happened was one of Leanne's friends or family tagged Leanne and said they were on their way for a beautiful ceremony. So clearly the wedding is nigh.
And then one of the cousins got the ass chewing of their life.
Because Leanne posted that on her story. So she had control over that.
Okay.
Then we saw a picture of the 2 of them seated together where they both had their rings out. And so it was like, okay, it definitely has occurred. Like we can confirm.
It is in the past tense.
It has occurred. And then they finally posted the picture of the ceremony where Ben and Leanne are together, and I guess it's in front of the cake, and they're celebrating or they're having their kiss. So that was when we got to see our first glimpse of what it looked like. And this was Ben and Leanne posting, acknowledging, yes, we are married. And then they said, okay, ceremony 1 is done. It was small. It was intimate. Ceremony number 2 is coming, and we're going to celebrate big. More details to come. So they have not shared when or where.
Gotcha.
We don't know. And we don't know who's invited. Maybe all of us.
But we because know we are not.
They said big. Hey, there's still time. Still in the future tense.
This is what they're doing this year instead of homecoming.
They could be.
Ben and Leanne's wedding.
A limo could pull up any minute to take us to the airport.
And to drive us to Morocco.
Yeah. Obviously not. But yeah, we don't know the details. But it's got to be really soon because they made it sound like through all of this, they would be close together.
Right.
So ceremony number 2 shortly. We think that maybe that's the one that's going to land in People magazine as an exclusive.
One would think.
One of these has got to be, right?
I mean, you sell these things off these days.
I was surprised we got anything before I saw it on People
for sure.
People magazine.
And if
it had been Allie Love, we would have had to wait weeks, and everybody would have corresponding days that they could post and outfits.
We'd be talking about it over the next 3 episodes. But yeah, as much as they've both been popping up in People over the last year, you got to think
this has got to be.
That's what's going on.
It's coming. Yeah. It's coming for sure. That's what I think. But, we are very happy for them. Congratulations to Ben and Leanne, and we will, you just heard what Dr. Jenn had to say about whether or not only Ben and Leanne, but soon to be Rebecca and Andy, how that's going to change things. And hopefully they'll just stay together happily forever, because I think a Peloton divorce would suck.
That would be
ugly.
Ugly. Be fun to cover though.
Oh yeah.
But it would be ugly.
It would be ugly.
And it would not be fun to cover, actually.
No, it wouldn't. I would be so sad and torn.
People would take sides, and then no matter what we said, somebody would yell at us.
Yeah.
And so actually it would not be fun at all.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. And genuinely, when somebody gets married, you hope that it's just going to last forever and be happy. So I really do wish them the best. I mean, Ben and Leanne, they've had quite the road already.
Yeah,
they've been through a lot.
I know when I first saw that they had the early wedding, my first thought was like, oh, I wonder, is this like something to do with like health insurance? And I was like, oh, wait, they're not American.
They don't have to worry about things like that.
They don't need to do stupid shit like that. They just they can just go to the doctor. They can just go to hospital.
That's right.
They don't use the over there.
I know.
It's just hospital.
They just go to hospital. Yeah, it's weird.
Logan Aldridge has created an adaptive deadlift tool that is for sale.
I just think this is so cool.
It is cool. It's very neat.
I want to spread the word. So anybody out there, if you see this, hear this, whatever, put it out there everywhere, because who knows who needs this, but when they need it, they need it.
Right.
And so this strap is what he uses to do his deadlifts. And so he is now selling it so that he can help people buy it. This may have been out there forever. I have no idea. Looks like he started using this back in 2019. So maybe he's been selling this whole time and we just didn't know.
Who knows?
I think it's really cool, though.
It is cool. And it's one of those things where it's like, boy, there's got to be a finite number of people that need something like that. But like, if you do, you really do.
Absolutely.
And I have wondered, I'm like, how do you get such definition when there are obviously moves that are designed for people with two arms to do? That, in that there's some body balance symmetry aspects going on there that obviously he can't utilize. So
and even on the Peloton platform, there are several classes that he has done for people who have adaptions necessary,
right? Whether
it's sitting, standing, and he has all kinds of different classes. I think what he does is really cool. And I know it's been a while since we got to go to the Runway Dreams, but I just am so impressed with all of what they do.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest thing. And so many people don't even know that they can use it or that it's even available. But like people who just somebody that's not necessarily like what you would think of as, not able to, like, you're not born without an arm, but maybe as you get older, you're starting to have trouble, zipping a zipper.
Right.
That kind of thing is not obvious to somebody. Like, I just think of my parents. Like, it's not going to be that long before, they might have trouble doing certain things.
Right.
And being able to have adaptive clothing, adaptive abilities to lift, it's just so cool.
Absolutely.
I'm very impressed.
So Becs Gentry is training for something.
Yeah. So I just thought this was cool. I don't have any pictures, but I have been taking a lot of running classes, obviously. And
you better.
Right. Otherwise it's going to be real awkward.
Yes.
In November when I can't get anywhere. But when I've been taking Becs classes lately, she has mentioned on more than one occasion that she's training for something, but she's declining to say what it is she's training for. Well, I find that interesting because she said that this is something completely different than she's done.
Okay.
What does that mean? Does it mean distance-wise? Does it mean it's not running? But I think it is running, or at least running related, because she also just did this special training in a Nike lab where they did a bunch of testing to see like how springy her jumps were and how her VO2 max was. And it was like all these tests that were super in-depth.
Well, makes me wonder if she's doing that thing we talked about last week.
The high rocks?
High rocks.
Well, maybe, but that's more about lifting, and I'm not seeing anything about that. And she talked about the fact that whenever, that right now, as she's training, that she is working on increasing her mileage. So my first thought was, okay, maybe she's going to do an ultra, like she's going to go Susie Chan, and like do a really big ultra. And maybe, but it's weird that she wants to keep this training to herself, she said, for a while until she's gotten her mind wrapped around it, and then she's going to share it, which sounds big and exciting.
Yeah.
And the only thing big and exciting running wise, in my mind, she's already done. She's done the Olympic trials. Yeah. So maybe it's a different Olympic trials she's I mean, I have no idea. I am completely guessing, but I'm fascinated.
So here's my thought.
Okay.
So we're in she obviously lives in the New York area.
Yes.
Right? And she's training for something a little bit different.
Yes.
Right? Summer is just kicked off with Memorial Day. So that means coming up soon, the end of summer. Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that because it's supposed to be 6 months from now.
Oh.
And so it's going to be the late September, October timeframe. Okay.
Okay.
I've even like looked around. One of our tipsters started looking at all the ultras to see if they could kind of figure it out. There are lots of ultras that time of year.
Right.
There's lots of marathons that time of year. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm stumped. She'll share it soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can speculate.
Sure.
I'm excited. Whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be super cool. I don't know. Oh, I have to say also, we're going to talk about Linsey Stirling in a little bit. But while we're talking about Becs, I also want to say that Becs mentioned on her live today that there's going to be more YouTube content like what they did for the Linsey Stirling. So I can't help but wonder whatever she's training for, does that somehow overlap with more YouTube content? So I don't know. I don't know. Exciting. Very cool to think about.
We shall see. So Mayla Wedekind is plotting her return, and she's looking for your help.
Yes, I'm excited.
You,
yes.
Not you specifically.
Yes, everyone. She is planning a rock ride as her first ride back, and she is looking for like epic favorite songs from everybody. So
like about returns?
No.
Oh.
Rock songs.
Okay.
Can be any rock song.
Oh, okay. Thought about
you got like
back.
all topical.
Yeah, I was like kind of specific.
I mean, she didn't say that.
Yeah.
She asked for people's favorite rock songs.
So if you want to do that, you should stroll on by her Instagram.
You should. She's got a reel up, not just a story. So you've got time.
Yeah.
Which is why I went ahead and included it. If there's a story, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
We move on.
Yes. Ross Rayburn was featured in the Wall Street Journal. Very fancy.
How cool is this? It's like, oh, well, I guess that's why he's leaving us.
Yeah, he's getting that kind of press.
I know. Fancy pants.
Did they do his picture and the little point art?
Well, I only saw the online portion, so I'm not actually sure, but it would not surprise me.
It'd be worth being in the Wall Street Journal just to get that little image. I'd make it my Facebook profile.
I totally would too. Like that would be so cool. But my features are just like so round. It would just look like a big circle that was made out of dots.
Round too. They would be like, why was Charlie Brown in the Wall Street Journal?
That's what I would get. Yeah.
Except I got the hair for it.
That's true. You do have the hair for it. But yeah, he was there, and it was all about like keeping your zen while you travel. And he went with the Wall Street travel person, and they like did a really long distance together.
Yeah.
And like he showed tips and tricks of how to stay zen while traveling.
Okay.
So I thought it was interesting.
You should read that article because we're about to be on a plane for like 9 hours.
Honey, I'm going to land in Hawaii. I'm going to be just fine.
Okay, but we got to come home.
Oh, yeah, I won't be fine then. I'm going to be a brat. I'm going to be like, I don't want to go home.
Which is why you need to read the article.
All right, I'll read it. All right.
Peloton artist collaborations.
We have 2 big artist announcements this week in the world of Peloton.
We do.
The first is an artist series featuring the Killers.
Yeah, there were a lot of different classes for the Killers. This one should be familiar to a ton of people. I think they are very...
They've been around for a little bit. They're pretty big.
Yeah.
Old people like us have heard of them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And my other exciting part about this is there's going to be lane break levels. So you're going to have a ride, a run, and a walk. So that's pretty exciting. And those are going to drop on June 3rd. The rest of these classes, there's going to be all kinds of them, by the way. Strength, rowing, riding, running, and stretching. And classes are also available in German. Those drop live on May 30th.
Okay. And also, it's not a full artist series, at least not yet.
No.
Maybe it will be, but we have a little special something with Linsey Stirling.
Yes, so I mentioned it briefly earlier, but this was so cool. Lindsey Stirling was live in studio with Becs during Becs's run this week in the afternoon, and Lindsey was on tread 4 is what I was told.
Okay.
And she talked to Becs the entire time. Apparently she's super in shape because she can talk and run easily.
Yeah, that's fair.
These singers, I tell you what.
Does she sing too? I know she's a violinist.
Actually, I don't know. That's a good point.
I thought she just played violin, but I could be totally wrong. I just know that she plays violin.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But she talked to Becs the whole time, and they had a great conversation. And it was a very, very special class. People are raving about it, that it was just freaking awesome.
People love them some Linsey Stirling.
They do. That they do. So it is on demand as of this time. So if you haven't checked it out, you absolutely should. Take a walk if you don't run. Like, it's fine. You know, enjoy it.
Yeah. Coming up after this, we're going to talk about a new bike from the future.
A clip out.
So a company called Saga, or if you prefer, Sega.
No, Sega's S-E-G-A.
Oh, I thought the Canadians might say Sega.
Oh, okay.
That seems like something they might do.
They may be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's a big band in Canada, by the way, Saga. Yeah.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. On the loose.
Got nothing.
Anyway. Went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you did.
Went down a classic rock rabbit hole in my head. Sorry. Saga has a company I've never heard of, has a new bike that gives you classes with holograms.
Yes. So they're trying to compete with Peloton.
Well, everybody's trying.
I love how they say that it's a disruptor brand,
Okay.
and they're trying to out Peloton the competition with the HoloBike.
Okay.
I'm like, well, the reason that it's not, you can't really out Peloton.
Yeah.
Like, you know? So
I just
anyway.
figure, like, if you're trying to be another brand, you're not disrupting much of anything, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's not
Exactly.
disrupting. That's just copying.
I will say that I have been feeling for a long time that this is where I thought Peloton was headed.
Right.
And apparently not. Yeah. But they're going to, what they do is they have a light field display. It's a stereoscopic light field display that projects 3D holograms that are visible to the naked eye, which
So no funny glasses.
no funny glasses and no VR headsets.
Right.
That is key.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, it has a 4K display, and it combines it with micro lenses and supposedly creates lifelike 3D images.
So do we know what they're showing you in these images? Is
Yeah,
it
it's
just
like trails. It's like an outdoorsy.
so it's like a scenic run, but it looks more immersive because
Yeah.
it's 3D.
Yeah, but it's a bike, so you'd
Right.
be riding, not running.
Yeah.
You said run.
Oh, I said trail.
Oh.
Did I say run?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought you did.
Oh.
Maybe I just misheard you.
Yeah. But so it's not like there's a little tiny instructor like Princess Leia warning you.
It does not mention that. It doesn't mention any Princess Leia type
Gotcha.
things. It does say for added engagement, there are infrared sensors that adjust the visuals based on the rider's position for a consistent immersive experience. You know, I get requests all the time to try out things. I might reach out to them.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this.
Yeah,
You know,
that'd be
I
kinda-
love new tech.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peloton.
That'd
Do
be
something
neat.
new.
It'd be neat to see.
I would like to
But
see
it
it.
also seems like does it have a price point attached?
Does not. Oh, yeah, here it is. Right now, you can pre-order it only through Kickstarter. Super early bird prices start at $2,600. That price is limited to the first 200 backers. Also, I just wanted to go back to what are they showing as classes. It says the routes that are displayed are AI generated from volumetric scans of real world locations, providing a unique and game-like experience. So it allows for the rapid creation of new trails, and so therefore you can expand the library of available rides.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Okay. Well, we shall see.
We shall.
Past guest update.
So we have a past guest update courtesy of Ellen Hilderbrand.
We do. Ellen Hilderbrand is retiring. 25 years of the beach read. She's out.
Well, she's only kind of sort of retiring.
Absolutely.
She's retiring from like writing her beach type books.
Yes, she still will be doing things. Who knows what exactly? Definitely writing.
I skimmed the article and it was like she was, I think they're working on adapting some of these into TV
That
shows.
had already been in progress.
I
We
think
reported that.
She's working on a podcast.
She's had that podcast going for.
Yeah.
It's new. It's
so,
new.
Like it's more. They were saying it's more of a brand pivot
Yeah.
than a full on retirement.
She doesn't want. She said she doesn't want to be doing books set on Nantucket when she said what she feels like she has to say.
Right.
And I think that's smart. Just like a TV show, like whenever it's on its last season,
right?
It's time to wrap things up.
Like we watch a lot of like classic television,
yes.
and some of them
they stay past their welcome.
They stay, like you can tell, like they probably should have wrapped this up a season or two ago.
Yeah,
not Barney Miller.
No,
Barney Miller stayed good to the end.
Well, we haven't hit the last episode.
Okay, we have one episode left. I feel pretty confident they're not going to shit the bed in the last episode of the 8th season.
I agree with you, but that one crazy ass episode where we had to go to Wojo's house was awful.
That was bad.
That was dog shit.
They gave Wojo a backdoor pilot.
And it was bad.
It was a bad idea.
Also, I was ready for Fish to go. But anyway, no, Barney Miller, I've enjoyed the entire run.
Yes.
With those two pieces excluded.
Those are fair critiques.
So I get what Ellen Hilderbrand is saying.
Absolutely.
Like, you have to know when it's time.
Yes.
And I think it's hard to know when it's time.
It is, especially I'm sure when it makes a lot of money for you.
Yeah. And it's also something that like you're connected to because it's your baby.
Right.
It's what you did. It's what
For
you
sure.
created. It's hard to walk away from that.
Absolutely.
But we are congratulating Ellen because it's a new thing. It's a new phase. So congrats to her.
Yes.
New content.
So let's do bingo call out number 2.
All right. We've got John Husking.
There you go. Okay. That's your goal for the week. Okay. Every week we ask you guys to chime in with what you thought was your favorite workout of the week. And then we share them with everyone else in case they're looking for new things to do and don't know where to start. There's so much content to wade through. It's called the TCO Top 5. So let's start with your favorite Peloton ride.
Okay, first up, we have a low impact ride. It was 30 minutes with Benny Adami. It took place on May 11th of this year. And Marie Logue says she took the class and she said Benny should be more popular than he is because his classes, many in English, are fun and challenging and he is so joyful. That's true.
I think it's very helpful to point out that a lot of them are in English.
Yeah,
I think a lot
agree.
of people steer clear of the German instructors because of
I think so too. And I mean, whenever I announced that Ross was leaving, there were people that were like, who's Ross?
Yeah.
Like there's people that are just so in their little...
For sure.
They just get on the bike and they just pick the same stuff. They're not even aware half the stuff exists.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Number 2, favorite Peloton walk.
Okay, so this is a 30-minute Rolling Stones walk. It took place with Susie...
That seems appropriate for Rolling Stones.
It does.
Like, let's not give them anything too difficult. Let's just have them do a walk.
Just walk.
That's-
Well, they weren't there.
Yeah.
They weren't there. Susie Chan was leading the way. And Rich Glass said that this walk is easily in his top 5 of all classes that he has ever taken, bike or tread.
Wow.
And he said between the music and Susie's fantastic teaching, picking this class was easy, especially since he was specifically looking for a walk to do. It would be impossible to pick a Rolling Stones song that wasn't energizing, but the playlist has all the best songs, including Honky Tonk Woman, Get Off My Cloud, and Start Me Up. Get Off My Cloud? That's a thing?
Yeah, hey, you get off of my cloud. Yeah.
I got nothing.
Although I would say Waiting on a Friend would not be very energizing. It's a good song, but it's not energetic. Just putting that out there.
I don't know that song either.
Okay. Number 3, favorite Peloton row.
Okay, so this was a scenic row. We're changing things up.
Okay.
So you have, just so you know, you have to actually have the row to try this class.
That makes sense.
Well, some people.
Yeah.
But
Some people.
this was the Scenic San Diego row with Ash Pryor. And Karen Marquez, love you, Karen. She said that she loved this row because she loved seeing the water and will definitely be doing more of these scenic classes. She said Ash's coaching is great. The scenic classes can be super relaxing because you get to see your home from the home gym, from your gym. I actually haven't done any of the scenic rows. Not one. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. You're crazy.
I am crazy.
Crazy Crystal.
Get out of here, crazy.
Crazy clip out Crystal. Number 4, favorite Peloton outdoor walk.
Okay, so this is a 20-minute R&B walk with Jocelyn Thompson Rule.
This can't be Rolling Stones because you don't want to let them go outside by themselves. That age.
Just wander
You'll
away.
never find them again.
Feel like they've got security. It's okay. Yeah. But Tina Bwan said she's already taken this class a few times because the playlist takes her back to middle school days. The music includes On Bended Knee by Boyz II Men, which means you're in a relaxed walking state while Jocelyn is sneakily getting your heart rate up.
Okay, the one everybody's waiting for. You want to be challenged. You want to end up sweaty. It's your favorite unstackable.
We got you. It's a 60-minute total strength with Andy Spear from May 19th. And Lindsey Kelly says that she loves this. Now, she says that she's not a big fan of mountain climbers. You got to know that first. But she stated the class had the best playlist. She said it was made for her age group. Her 14-year-old who lifts me up was like, Mom, you're getting way too excited about every single song. Bonus points to Andy for putting she thinks my tractor sexy between Weezer and Warren G. That is quite the range.
That is quite the range. Very eclectic.
Nice, Andy.
And let's take a look at what's coming up this week at Peloton. We'll start it off with Hip Hop Pilates with Anna Greenberg.
Yeah, so this is fun. This is going to be a new addition to the on-demand library, and it's a new 15-minute Hip Hop Pilates class. So if you're looking to mix things up, here you go.
Okay. Fit Family Shadow Boxing. The only thing I hate more than dance cardio is shadow boxing.
Yeah, I don't like shadow boxing either.
I feel like an idiot doing either of those two things. But
I can find a workaround. I just grab my fight camp and like do the shadow boxing on the fight camp. And then at least I feel like because I need to hit something.
Right.
You know?
That's why I try to clear out of the room when you're starting the shadow boxing.
That's a good plan.
It won't be so shadowy.
But it's this is different though, because this is a Fit Family one. So the Fit Family workouts are back, and Jermaine, Rad, and Selena each have a Fit Family shadow boxing new content that dropped in the on-demand library.
We also have new scenic classes.
We do, yeah. New ones for the bike, the tread, and the row, all dropping. They just dropped today at 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you haven't got a chance to look at them, you might want to. Got some beautiful places to check out.
And finally, pro cyclist classes with the return of Christian Vandeveld.
Yeah, bunches coming. So we've got 3 45-minute classes this weekend. Speed training on Friday, June 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern. We've got a HIIT training class Saturday, June 2nd at 3 p.m. Eastern, and threshold training Monday, June 3rd at 7 a.m. Oh, threshold at 7 a.m. Ew.
You don't have to take it live.
They're all 45-minute classes, so that is awesome.
If that's not enough for you, there are also new benchmark strength classes.
Yes, there are. Now, those of you listening will know, if you listen all the time, you already know we've had benchmark classes for a while.
Okay.
There have been benchmarks programmed in certain programs, strength programs that exist already. But there are now generic, if you will, benchmark classes. So what does that mean? That means that...
What does that mean?
That means that you can now take a whole lineup of different classes to get a benchmark with different body types. So like, for instance, there's a 20-minute full body strength benchmark class.
Okay. Oh, I thought you meant for your own body type. Like if you're built like a booger, you take this benchmark class.
No.
If you're like an asparagus stalk, you take this benchmark class.
No.
Okay.
It's very different than the scientific names. I have to throw that out at my next coaches meeting and see what happens. Instead of ectomorph and endomorph and et cetera, I'm going to just be like, how about booger and asparagus?
Built like a booger. I fall under that. So do I. So I can say that.
And then there's also then you've got the body weight. It's still full body, but it's like body weight benchmark. Then there's going to be a core benchmark. There's also going to be upper body and a lower body. So again, the idea is that you can take one of these classes, do strength training, then in 6 weeks or so, come back and do these benchmark classes again to kind of see how you've progressed.
It's almost like an FTP.
It is.
For strength training.
Yeah, except it's not linked to a program. And in the past, they've been linked to a program.
Gotcha.
So now people who aren't taking a program are still going to be able to have benchmarks, which I think is great.
Free range.
Yes.
And then come back.
Exactly.
Okay. We also, over at theclipout.com, have a review, courtesy of Helper B. Lindsey, for the Sam's Video Store series.
And spoiler, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because Lindsey goes through and lists out every single video store ride and then does a breakdown of each one. And there's a lot of people that, just like there's people that kind of overlook the German instructors. There's people that overlook the UK instructors as well. And Sam is an often looked over instructor, and he's amazing. He's just a good dude, like all around.
Super nice.
Yeah. And so if you haven't gotten a chance to take these, especially if you like 80s music, you must take these classes. So much fun to go back and revisit. He takes soundtracks from movies of the 80s and makes it into the entire class.
Oh, nice.
So it's like you went to the video store together with Sam. How fun.
And you don't have to rewind when you're done.
You do not.
In case you missed it.
Lululemon, always dropping things in the Peloton apparel store. They have new colors for people.
They do.
It's been a while since we've invented new colors. I'm glad Lululemon is doing that.
The thing is, it's not very exciting. You know, I want more. We've got, it's like a watermelon green. That's what I would call this.
Okay.
You know, the outside rind of a watermelon.
Sure.
That's what we got. And then they also introduced the pink for the inside of the watermelon.
Okay. I was going to say inside of a watermelon. Okay. You almost had me interested. But then you said watermelon.
So anyway, those are the new colors. I don't know. I'm getting kind of bored with the apparel. I'm not going to lie. Sorry.
Peloton birthdays.
So there are technically no birthdays this week, but we missed one last week.
We did.
I mean me, because I'm the one who created the birthday calendar.
Thank you for taking the hit there.
I don't do much around here. I make the birthday calendar, came up with a name for the show. That's pretty much it.
No, that's not true.
Oh, I coined the phrase unstackable.
Yes.
So that's 3 things I've done over the last 7 years.
You've done a lot more.
That's not too bad.
You've done a lot more than that.
So anyway, Benny Adami had a birthday on May 27th.
That he did. Happy birthday to Benny.
He reached out. He's very upset that he didn't get mentioned last week. And so I don't know how he got my personal cell, but he did. I'm going to have to talk to whoever works at the front desk and be like, don't just put him in my voicemail. I don't need to be tracking me down on my cell phone.
Right.
But so our apologies.
Yeah. Next time we'll put the house line in.
Yeah. Yeah, because we have a house phone. I'm old, but I'm not that old.
I think for a long time we did, but we didn't know the number. So even if we wanted to give it out,
because it came with cable, they were like, for a penny, you get a landline.
Yeah.
We're like, it was actually, I think, a penny cheaper.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And we were like, okay.
I'm like, whatever. If you want to put one in, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
But like, we're never going to use it.
Yeah.
And then we unplugged it.
In case Benny Adami calls.
Right?
Yeah. So happy birthday, Benny.
Happy birthday, Benny. You're welcome to call us anytime.
Yes. Coming up after this, we're going to talk to Katrina Noplos, so stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Katrina Noplos. Hey, Katrina, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So happy to have you here today. Did we say your name correctly? Is it Noplos or Noplos? Just Noplos.
Noplos. Like double syllable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did
shortened
from
Ellis Island from my great grandfather from Constantopolis. So you get the easy version.
Wow, that's cool.
And I still screwed it up.
I know.
It's my superpower. I was thinking, my first thought was you must have had a lot of and the waves joke as a kid. And then I thought, wait, no, because she's not 100 years old like I am. And so the kids have probably never heard of that band.
It was very much that. I may not look 100 years old, but I am. So it was.
Your skin looks amazing.
Up until 2005. And then it was hurricane jokes.
Sure.
Nonstop.
Yes.
Okay. So do people talk about like do you have anger issues, that kind of thing?
So this is the difference between her and me. So she's like, she hears lots of hurricane jokes. She's like, and Crystal is immediate like lots of temper jokes, and I'm like, no, they're all about blowing.
Okay, good. So we've level set here. I can tell the joke that I used to hear all the time.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I was in college at that time, so I would be out at the bar. And the one thing I remember, this actually, before the hurricane actually hit land, this guy said, "Oh, your name's Katrina. Who swallowed more seamen, you or the hurricane?" Like sailors.
Gotcha. And that man is now a senator.
Oh, I bet. Yes. 100%.
So, Katrina, all joking aside, how did you originally first find Peloton?
I actually have what I think is a pretty unique entryway into Peloton. I had been a runner for a few years. I'm going to say like maybe 5 years or so. And I was subscribed to Runner's World magazine. And there was an article one time that was like really cool people to follow, like really cool runners to follow on Instagram. I don't remember anyone else who was on the list. I'm sure it was like really cool, like Olympians and stuff. But one of them was Robin, and it was like Robin NYC, and she looked so cool. She had, you know, leather jacket on and all this kind of stuff. And this was like in 2017, I want to say.
Okay.
So I followed Robin on Instagram for like a really long time, and I was like, oh, she's in that like Peloton thing or whatever. But I lived in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment in Baltimore City, and I was like, I have no interest in cycling, but she's so cool. I really just, I love her style. I love her attitude. And then eventually she started posting about, she's like, well, you could take these tread classes. And my now fiance and I had moved to an apartment building that had treadmills downstairs in the gym. And I was like, well, let me try this out. Like, I can actually like interact with this like really cool chick I've been following on Instagram. And I want to say like maybe the first week in April or something of 2019. So it was quite some time. I took a tread class on the app back when the app had like a free, you know, whatever. And I was hooked. I was like, oh wow, like my running before had not been very consistent. I had run a marathon, but like I probably could have won an award for the least amount of training and still making it through. My time shows it. Like it was not the greatest. But immediately I was like, oh, I can't get enough of this. And like clockwork, my consistency just like snapped into place. And I was taking classes and I was like, ooh, other people, like, wow, I can do this instructor and stuff. And then I was like, oh my God, outdoor content. So I was like doing my longer runs, and like immediately, like I track all my mileage, and you can see the like how crazy consistent it just became once I found these tread classes on the app. So I was an app member for the beginning of 2019 into the pandemic when they shut our gym downstairs, you know, like most places did. And so I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? Like the outdoor content's great. I love it. But like, I need that like tread class. Yeah. So I bought like a $200 tread or whatever, the cheapest thing you could find online. I was like, all right, I could do that here. And it just was not the same at all. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and just get the Tread Plus real quick before that, like, you know, who knows what's going to happen with that. Cause I know the bike was being crazy times and stuff like that. And my brother and sister-in-law had already gotten the bike, like they were getting into it too. So I was like, let me just pull the trigger, get the tread. And I got the Tread Plus in August of 2020.
Just before it got recalled.
That was gotta be.
Whew.
Yeah.
You were lucky to get that in.
Surprised, like as they were assembling it, they weren't getting text messages like, take it down.
Yeah. I had a solid like couple months with it before like all that stuff broke loose.
Wow.
But I love it so much. I was like, nope, I'm keeping it. We'll wait and see what happens. And I got my rear guard installed.
Yeah. Was it easy? Mine was easy. Like, is it simple?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It was super easy. The guy was here, and I was just sitting here where I'm sitting right now, working. And he's like, I'm done. I'm like, cool. Great.
Did he make a hurricane joke or a waves joke?
I don't think I ever like introduced myself to him, come to think of it. So I don't know if that would have went over really well.
My install delivery guy, whatever came, I gave him like the biggest third degree. I was like, what are you doing to my tread? I need to know exactly what you're going to do before you touch it.
Secret pictures. Like every time he wasn't looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like in pieces right now. Like what's happening?
Well, Well, if anybody ever has wondered what our first date was like, that's a window. What are you doing? What's going on? She probably took some secret pictures. Just in case, texting them to a friend in case I was in case
I end up missing. This is the guy.
Yeah, I did actually the same thing with my fiance before.
Hey, you can
our
never
first
be.
Date. I sent pics and I'm like, anyone ever met him? I met him online. So I was like, do you guys know anything about him? Like, anyone got any dirt? Like, what's up?
You got to be safe. You got to be safe. It's a crazy world out there. Okay, so you ran before you found Peloton. You have become an even more devoted runner since you found Peloton. Have you ever tried bike classes since then?
I have not gotten on the bike, but I have taken bike classes, a couple back, in the gym downstairs and everything. A couple of like the really big ones, like the Greatest Showman ride and stuff on the tread. Like I'm trying to, do the same thing on the tread. And then I remember the 2-for-1 Beyonce with Alex and Tunde. I was like, I can't miss this. This is going to be so much fun. And I had my actual Tread Plus. And I had my little tiny iPad because, you can't play them on there. And I just like sat it down there. I'm like, this is so hard to like follow along on this tiny screen when I have this big thing up there. So in taking the classes, I understand how they work. But I've actually never physically been on a bike.
I love that story. I just love that it's so different. Everybody always comes to Peloton through the bike, and so we don't hear that very often through the Tread Plus, especially.
Yeah, so I was such an app user all the way through my first visit to the studio. I went to the Christopher Street studio. It's crazy how easy it was to get a class. I like think back to that.
I miss those days.
That was my first time actually getting on the Tread Plus was there. And I remember being in there and I was like, they're like, all right, get ready to like go. And everyone's starting to go. I'm like, how do you turn this thing on? I was like, I had to have someone come help me. I'm like, there's no button. Like, how do I start?
It doesn't say start anywhere. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, like the rolling concept, even though like you would think having seen so many tread classes and they explain it, that it would have stuck. But I was just like, clueless as to how this piece of equipment works.
There's a lot of nerves the first time you're in the studio because it's so exciting.
True.
Like there's just so much coming at you and you're just like full of adrenaline. Like you
feel like you're on a movie set.
Crystal's all the first time.
She said she's been tons.
But as many times as
she said she's been many times.
It's been twice since like 3 or 4 classes, but twice like in like visits.
Okay.
Since then to the new studio.
Yeah. It's a lot harder now to get into a class.
So it's so crazy. I mean, I'm lucky. I got into a couple Decembers ago, like right before Christmas. I got into a Robin and a Matt Wolper's class.
Oh, wow.
It's like the week before Christmas. It was pure luck.
Christmas miracle.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So you also mentioned that you are a nightclub DJ. I'm really curious how you got into that. Like, was that something you always like wanted to do, or is that something you just kind of fell into? How did that happen?
A little combination of both. So my day job has sort of like fluctuated throughout the years. And when I first got into it, I was in retail. And I was working at Express, and we used to do like overnight floor sets, and I used to like make these little mix CDs to bring in. So like it kind of started there, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, did you bring a mix CD for tonight?" That kind of stuff. So like when I started going like out to clubs and stuff a lot with my friends, one friend in particular like would bring me up. He knew the DJ there, and he's like, "Yeah, like let's go say hi." So we got into a habit of every time we went out, we went up and said hi to the DJ. So I got to know him pretty well. And one time he was just like, the DJ was like, "Oh, I'm so sick. I wish I had someone to cover tonight. I need to find someone who could like cover." I'm like, "I could learn. You could teach me. I could do it." And he's like, "Okay." So he's like, "Come next week." And so he just started teaching me like in live with a crowd how to DJ. I was never a bedroom DJ, like learning there and then going to the clubs. I learned like right in the club. And then eventually I just started, picking up some gigs like there with the equipment that they had. And we used to burn CDs back then to like actually put in the CD player to mix. And so, yeah, I started there and then eventually just grew and grew and grew. And yeah, my day job sort of changed. Like now I'm like working in an office and stuff, a little bit different from retail. But yeah, I've kept that, you know, kind of going and expanded it. I'm from Baltimore, so I was DJing in DC for a lot of times too. Kind of been a resident in a lot of different places. So,
what's your DJ name? Do you have a cool DJ name?
I do. It actually derived from a friend's nickname because I used to drink vodka a lot, and since the last two letters are also the first two letters of my name, Katrina is my DJ name.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
So what was the what was there something really surprising that you learned when you were learning to DJ that makes it different from just creating a mixtape?
I think reading the crowd is like definitely a skill, and it's funny because it's a skill I think that really translates into real life too. If people aren't like feeling it and you got to like change it up, I could just be in a room talking to people and I can kind of read the room for the same sort of stuff. So yeah, that's a really important skill, I think.
So if people are feeling like you can tell they're not feeling it, like, do you change it up to something like more upbeat, or do you change it to something that's more like a perennial crowd pleaser, or like what's your?
Usually that, yeah. I mean, my big fallback go-to is I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. Like that, if something's not going right, like that'll at least sort of level set like a minute until you kind of figure out the next move.
When in doubt, the duck dance.
The duck dance?
Yes. Who doesn't love the duck dance?
I don't know how to do the duck dance.
Nobody loves the duck dance.
I was like, I hope you're joking. I don't know what you're talking about.
The duck dance or the chicken dance?
See, it's a regional thing.
It is?
I think in the I've always heard of the duck dance, but I know in other parts of the country they call it the chicken dance. It's like soda versus pop.
Okay, it's never been done at a wedding I've been to, that I've actually been to. So I've never experienced this in real life.
Oh, it's the worst.
It sounds like it.
Do you know the song?
I've seen it in movies. I only know it from movies.
Okay, but you know what we're talking about. I do. You're just acting like I made up a thing.
No. No, I was like, why would you play that? That's what I was shocked at.
You know, those like line and group dances, though, like crowd favorites, like they make my brain sad. But, like they really like. There's so many of them, like the Cupid Shuffle and all of those things. They're kind of all in the same kind of file.
Yeah.
Because the people who want to dance that don't know how to dance are
can do that.
You're telling me what to do.
That I can do.
It's how fascism takes root. Yeah.
Yep. You got it. You're a DJ now.
Well, I was a DJ.
He was.
But I was a caller 10 wins tickets to Foghat DJ.
Yeah.
So. Gotcha.
Didn't you try?
You didn't have to immediately respond to emotions in the room. You got to just sort of
just the other DJs.
Didn't you try DJing for a wedding once and you hated it?
One time, and I was like, this is miserable. It was so not for me. Like I was like, I hate everything about this. And I also didn't like the pressure.
I was going to say that's like a big part of like what you said is a skill, I think, is like the pressure that came to you, Tom. Like she's saying, read the room. You probably could read the room, but feeling the pressure of getting it wrong because it's a wedding.
Because it's a wedding. if you screw up a bar, it's like, well, it's just somebody went out for the night. Like it's like, you know, I mean, you would still hate to do that, but to be like, oh, I screwed up these people's wedding. I was just like, I don't like this at all. And it was a long time ago. We had cassettes.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Did you have to bring the big thing?
We did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There was also a lot of lifting, which I did not anticipate. So it's just like, this is checking a lot of boxes for things I don't like.
That's true.
So I'm like, I was
so I'm gonna take this recording, and just when people ask me to DJ weddings, because I get that a lot because they like my sets when I'm DJing like out at night. I'm just going to send them that because I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why I do not want to get into that industry.
Yeah, and I would think today it's easier because so many things are like MP3. You're just bringing in a laptop and you still have the speakers and whatnot. But also, I would think the DJing weddings is rougher than a bar because bars have a theme and it draws a certain demographic that are all looking for the same thing. And maybe it's a country bar, maybe it's a gay bar, maybe whatever. But weddings,
that's a great point.
You have to find a song that the bride and groom likes, but also Aunt Mildred.
Yeah, what a great point. Yeah.
And Aunt Mildred's a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know that.
In my family,
you get it wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of pressure from getting it wrong. And like in my family, it wouldn't matter what you played. Like nobody would dance ever.
We didn't even try at our wedding.
We didn't try at our wedding because we were just like, that's silly.
Yeah. But we got married at Dave & Buster's.
So.
Oh, that's the way to do it. Like, no pressure, no anything. Me and my fiance, we're getting married in Greece next year.
Oh, wow.
We're not having like the big, big reception and all that kind of stuff. We'll have like a little party in the States for the people who can't make it. But yeah, no frills, no worrying about if everyone's going to get up and dance and do all the things.
Yeah, that was our thought. At least people, because we had the kids, because we were second marriages for both. So we had the kids and we wanted them to be able to be involved and do something. We didn't want to make it like a boring night for them. So, and for us. So we thought playing video games was kind of like a good way to bring everybody in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I might actually add that to my ideas list.
So where in Greece are you guys getting married?
We are looking at, we don't have anything locked down just yet, but we're looking at the island of Sifnos.
Okay.
As you might have presumed from the opening, I am Greek. So my original thought was, let's get married in the village where my grandmother was born before she came to America. My parents went there either last year or the year before. And they're like, we're from Kalamata, actually, where the olives are from. They're like, it's not what you picture.
Like she left for a reason. Yeah.
It's landlocked. It's, sort of just like a dry area. Like there's olive trees, but like it's not picturesque in any means. And they had gone to this island, Sifnos, before. And they're like, why don't you check that out? So I started kind of researching, since my name, Katrina, is of Catherine descent, which is my grandmother's name. I was like, well, what about St. Catherine, like a St. Catherine church anywhere? And there's one on Sifnos, and it looks like a postcard. So that's kind of where we're looking to get everything settled down.
That sounds perfect. That sounds amazing. Good luck. I hope that all turns out. That's great.
I can't even imagine planning a wedding in another country.
No, that stresses me out.
We're just planning a vacation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Does that transfer? How does that work? Or do you have to come back and get married here?
What a good question. Yeah. Do you have like all kinds of legal things you have to do that are different in Greece than here?
I don't know, but my dad is a Greek priest. So
you're covered.
He's going to I'm covered. I'm not sure how it works, but he's working on the paperwork actually right now as we speak. So
she's like, I've got people for that.
Yeah. And he has like priest friends of his that have had their kids get married in Greece. So he's got, resources and stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm sure he's got it.
Yeah.
It's a whole industry. It's the whole Greek industrial wedding complex. They've got it down.
That's amazing. So, so do you ever try to like take your DJ skills and like parlay them into Peloton? Do they cross paths in some way?
They do cross paths in some really kind of funny ways. I am a very avid user of I love this song, Heart It, and then I'll go back and revisit that playlist on Spotify and take from there a lot. There's actually a class, I can't remember what specifically it was, that DJ John Michael had programmed. I want to say it was maybe, for some reason, I can't remember if it's a running class for Matty or a strength class for Adrian, one of the two. And DJ John Michael had just programmed the music for it. And it was like during Pride Month. And I was like, wow, this set just really goes really well together. And I DJ predominantly gay bars. And I was like, oh, it's Pride Month. That set was great. I'm going to just steal that for my opening set. And I went and I hearted every single song and I downloaded every single one. And I was like, perfect. I've got my first hour mapped out. I'm good to go.
That's amazing.
And the crowd got a hell of a workout.
Yeah.
One of the first years that I had DJ'd Washington, D.C.'s Pride's block party was one of the first years that I was like really getting into Peloton, and I bought the Pride shirt with the stripes and the stuff. And I thought it was so cool. I wore it with my leather vests. I was like, yeah, I'm channeling Robin for this. And I was so excited. Someone from like the crowd was like, Peloton. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm dressed like, and it was so loud. So I'm like, I'm dressed like Robin. And he was like, I can't hear you. And I was just like, whatever. But it was really fun that like someone sort of called that out. And I was like, oh, look, like friends.
Yeah.
In the wild.
Yes. Those sightings in the wild are the best because like you just feel an instant connection to this complete stranger. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've been running outside with like a Peloton stuff and they're like, I'm listening to the too. I'm like, that's cool.
That's great.
So what is your leaderboard name?
I am everything on the internet. I am Vodka Trina.
So that wasn't taken.
Yeah, no, it was not taken. So yeah, everything, Instagram, all of the things. I'm Vodka Trina in all of the places.
Very nice.
Smart branding.
Yes.
So I feel like I know this one, but do you have a preferred instructor?
I see where you're going with this. Since there's one instructor we've mainly talked about, but I'm one of those people where I have an instructor for every mood at this point. And ironically enough, I think my favorite instructor nowadays is Selena. Just in general, but like when I need to be pushed really hard, then I'll go to Robin. Cause she's always got some Robinism that will end up in a mood board or like a written on a Post-it note next to my tread for the future or something.
It's so funny.
But lately I've really been getting into Camila. She's really fun. I find a lot of just like, I feel like I'm just hanging out with my younger sister and you know, hearing about all the cool things the kids are doing with her. But for strength, I love Adrian because I do strength classes. Obviously, since I got the tread came with all of the things, and I just dove head deep drinking the Kool-Aid. I love Adrian for strength. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about that.
It's implied.
You just look at him and he is strength. So,
it's
although I will take Selena for like glutes and legs. That's her bread and butter. She's really, really good with that. I think that covers it all. Matty, obviously, when I'm looking for a fun time, anything with Matty is always just when I'm looking to laugh and kind of feel like I'm hanging out with a bestie.
Yes.
He's another great one.
You really cannot take a class with Matty and not smile. Like, I think it's impossible. I think it's just impossible. I've never left a Matty class in a bad mood.
Yeah. And he's like that in person too. Like, that's not like fake or anything. He's the one I took the strength class at the old Christopher Street studio with. And like, after like everyone lined up and took their pictures, I was the last one in line and we were just chatting and it was just like, oh, like he's the same. Like, there's no difference. It's the same person.
Yes.
It's not a shtick.
It's not a shtick.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, he's that genuine.
So do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
Take every instructor, take every type of class, every type of thing. Because I've heard so many people say, oh, I tried it and I didn't like it. I'm like, there's like 50 some instructors. You may just not like, certain ones. Because there's certainly ones that like I don't completely vibe with. And I'm like, I don't fully like their thing. My brother and sister-in-law are both teachers, so they love Jess Sims. Yeah. And I'm like, I just don't connect with her all the time. Now, she has really good 90s hip-hop playlists, so I will take some of her 90s hip-hop classes. But in general, like, I don't know, not my vibe. So yeah, I would just try everybody out. Like, you'll find someone who will just consume you into the cult, and we'll all have you drink the Kool-Aid at that point.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you in all the places.
Yeah, so all the places. I'm Vodka Trina. That's vodka, and then it looks like just Trina after the word vodka, but it's Katrina in there. Yeah, the leaderboard, Instagram, I can't even think of what all of the things. TikTok, not that I really create TikTok videos, but yeah, everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
We do. Thank you so much.
So much fun.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on all the socials and the Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget our Patreon at patreon.com/The Clip Out, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, which we're going to go record right now. And we like you extra. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep pedaling.
And running.
And rowing.
Bye.